What's happening, folks? Happy Monday night. Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. It's the Doc Talk coming up next here. Got a little smorgasbord of stuff. We're going to talk LaCrosse. We're going to air an interview we did with new crown Nebraska State Champ, Mr. Jason Loveall. And we got a little PSA in there, and hopefully maybe towards the end of the show, we might get a chance to meet some of the TPO Pro Team members here. We're going to have those guys come in. But before we get that going, let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. What's happening, folks? Welcome to the TPO Doc Talk Podcast. Monday night, 7 p.m. Central. We are live. First up, we're going to go ahead and get a little interview fired up here. This is one we did with the newly crowned Nebraska State Champ, Mr. Jason Loveall, actually from Colorado. Over the weekend, we were at Elwood Reservoir at a really beautiful, beautiful body of water in central Nebraska there. And I had a chance. There was 23, 24 anglers showed up. There was like 10, 11 Colorado anglers. It was super, super cool working together with that bass club there to put up a lot of numbers so they could send two people. First place was Jason Loveall, and second place was Mr. Chris Longshore, and which is no stranger to winning big events and being up there. So both of those guys punched their ticket to the 2025 National Championship with Bassmaster out of Fort Worth. Still don't know the body of water they're going to throw it on down there. A lot of cool options available to them. But yeah, man, that's going to be, it's the biggest dance in kayak fishing right now. And Bassmaster has that. We were at last year's and it was quite the event, man. I can only imagine down in Texas. They like to do things big down there. So it should be pretty cool. All right. So before we get going into that interview there, we're going to throw up one little PSA here. And it's the reason I'm doing so, and the reason we're throwing this out there and kind of touching on, we might ruffle a few feathers with our opinions here. Again, this is just opinion on this stuff, but at the same time, I'm watching a lot of people online that I care about, some vets, some not, just losing their minds over the most simplistic things, man. They are just literally flaming out on a keyboard over some ridiculous stuff. And I want to just throw this out there as a moment to, first and foremost, I'm saying this to everybody who's watching this show recorded live or who's checking things out, or if you spend any time in social media land of any kind, take a deep breath. For the love of God. My generation, if you look back, when we were at the grocery store, there was the most absurd things, and we saw them for what they were. We looked at them as absurd. Bigfoot spotted. Bigfoot marries an alien. The National Enquirer, Sun Magazine. These type of satire and unvetted news sources, if you will, were all over the place at the newsstands, in the checkout line at the grocery store. And we knew they were hoo-ha. Okay? We knew that. It didn't stop our morbid curiosity from wanting to pick it up and see, that this person claimed they had a baby from Elvis and an alien and, whatever the case may be. But we knew it wasn't reputable. Okay, we knew this information was not vetted. It had not been looked at. In a world where we like to beat up on a lot of things, I'm going to say this, and I mean this with not a disrespectful poke, but this is maybe a wake up for a second moment here. There's a group of people who used to really make fun of another group of people for being easily offended. And folks, I'm going to tell you, for a guy who doesn't have a dog in this fight or a horse in this race, y'all are just as easily offended as they are. It's like we're looking for something these days and we're looking to social media for it. The best case and example on this, and I can't 100% say this, but I can promise you this. after doing enough research on the road, and then when I got back looking at this, I am further along in down this rabbit hole of understanding the actual situation that's going on than what I was when I first just read the initial article. And the article was about this Algerian boxer. The whole world has been up in arms about how this is a man competing against a woman. We were sure of it. Here's my question to you. Why were you sure of it? Why? How? What information did you do? What information did you research other than look at this individual? And I'll admit, looks like it. Sure does look like it, an initial view. But when you dig into this, I'm not going to get down the entire rabbit hole, but I'm going to tell you this. The people claiming that she failed a test have ties to the Russian mob, and the only time that they got any type of upset about it was after she had beaten the Russian fighter. This organization has been discredited and is no longer, and has not been, because they wouldn't show proof of their test. They claimed something and they wouldn't show where they got the information from. Folks, I don't care what world you live in. I don't care who you pray to. I don't care what, side of the political fence that you hold to dearly and cling to. You can't just say something and make it true, man. You know what I mean? I mean, the same goes for the fishing industry. It goes for anywhere. So that's been your source. But the fact of the matter is this fighter had been fighting for like 9 years. She's been beaten multiple times. It was never an issue. There's never been proof of this. And neither do these people actually claim to be, something, other than what they are. So at the very least, damn, dude, that's pretty harsh. Because she probably knows that maybe she's a manly looking, lady. And now the social media world has just gone out and literally, it reminds me of the Salem witch hunts, man. It really does. And for those veterans out there, for those families out there, you don't need this kind of stress in your life. Don't be so quick to jump that stuff and let your inner sides just completely get torn up. For the love of Pete, this is the National Enquirer, this Facebook that you run on. You got to stop looking at it and stop looking to social media for your actual freaking news. You just can't. You just can't. It's entertainment, man, and that's it. And I hope the best mental health well-being to those individuals that I know out there and that I don't know out there. But just, protect yourself from this kind of stuff and scroll on by on some of this, or actually do a little bit of research before you, literally tie people to a stake and light a fire underneath their feet, because being a good human being costs you nothing, right? And being willing to look into things. That's the PSA, man. That's what I'm going to throw out there. That's what I'm going to say is do a little bit of research, do a little bit, and protect you and your family's mental health, well-being, and check your sources out there. All right. Cool. We got that out of the way here. That was just on my head. And you know what? We got a platform, so we're going to talk about it. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and put up an interview. I had to get with Jason first thing in the morning again, because this guy's a truck driver, like Tyler Cole. Jason Loveall is a truck driver. And where he drives out in the sticks of Nebraska, Kansas. Actually, I think he's western Kansas and eastern Colorado, which, folks, I'm telling you, it looks like we've detonated nukes on our own soil out there. It is flat land and there's nothing. The reception is real sketchy. So he knew he wasn't going to be able to connect with us from the cab of his truck. So he took time out of his morning, first thing in the morning here, to sit down with us and talk about Elwood Reservoir and how he sealed the deal there. So let's go ahead and add this up here. And all right, ladies and enjoy the interview. Doc Talk podcast interview. We have the champ, Nebraska State champ himself, Mr. Jason Loveall. Jason, what's happening, dude?
What's up, Gene? Thanks for having me again.
You bet, man. You bet. You're making I told you before, this is going to be you're going to get used to this, because I have a feeling we're going to be hearing a lot of your name over the next couple of years here. Good stuff, man. So yeah, dude, we travel like 10 of us or so, 24 people, 23 people on the roster, over 10. So almost half the roster was Colorado coming in to help Nebraska with its numbers and for our chance, obviously, to compete there. So Nebraska is sending 2 guys to represent the state at the 2025 National Championship around the Fort Worth area here for Bassmaster. And you are the champ, dude. Talk to me, Elwood Reservoir. This is our first. This both of us. Neither one of us had ever been there before. A lot of us. This was our first time getting there. You got there Thursday, kind of late. We both did. We kind of arrived about the same time, right around lunchtime. Talk me through this week, man. How it all set up from practice onto tournament day, and how you sealed it.
Well, Thursday we both got there. I think we got on the water probably about 11:30. Went to, I guess that would be what, the northern end of the lake. Yeah, northern end of the lake. Fished all that. Caught 3 fish total. Didn't have a great practice. Thought I'd be fishing laydowns the whole time or deep timber. Just couldn't find a good pattern. That's how my Thursday ended. Just hot, sweaty, tired. And then went into Friday, fished some different stuff over by the dam, caught some smallies. Ended up sight fishing just by a fluke. I was like, I wanted to see what the lake had. So just in and out of every cove, standing on the kayak, flipping bushes, and then kept seeing little 6 to 12-inch fish swimming around. They were biting everything I threw at them. So kept doing that all day, just having fun.
Right, Dink City up shallow, right? That's what I
Dink
found in
City.
practice. Yeah,
Yeah,
in practice,
all
if it
between
was up,
6 to 12.
yeah, if it was up on the shore or within 3 foot of it, they were just really small.
Yeah, that was tiny. That was on Friday all day, but I was having a blast catching them because everything else was junk for me.
Right,
Really
right.
didn't have a pattern at all. I figured I could pull some smallmouth off of the deep timber. I found an area that was 12 to 14 foot with standing timber that seemed like it had a bunch of smallmouth in it, and they were quality too. So
Nice.
that was basically my game plan, is fishing deep Saturday and just going for bigger fish.
Right.
Started the morning out on the north side of the dam on some bushes over there. I had caught a few fish off of during pre-fish, our scene fish, and they were better quality. Missed 2 on a buzz bait first thing Saturday morning. Fished that for about 40 minutes, nothing. Decided to go to the north end again and fish that standing timber. Sat on that for about 30 minutes, caught a 8 to 10 pound catfish off of there.
Wow.
And then the very next cast got a thump on the same stand-up timber, and that digging. So I sat in that whole cove for probably
You just cut out a little bit there.
oh
Can you go
shit.
back on the deep timber? You say you cast in there, and was that the big one? Was that the big bass that you hit?
No, it was not. That was my 17-inch smallmouth.
Gotcha.
So that seemed to only hold smallmouth as the deep timber for me. Another 30 minutes fishing the timber because there was probably 20 yards of stand-up timber and
Nice.
didn't get another bite. So I was like, I needed a limit is where my mind went. So
If you don't mind me going back to it, the top water bite. I know it seemed like it was hit or miss depending on who you spoke with. I threw a buzzbait, I threw a frog, and I threw a walking bait, and got not so much as an even just a nasty look short of on the frog. I had a cup. I spooked a couple fish with the frog, pitching right up into some really gnarly stuff. What was your topwater experience like? Because I mean, obviously you had to see something to throw it on tournament day there, or is it just so much of a drug topwater bite that you just decided to kind of throw it anyway?
Thursday, I did not get a single fish to come up on topwater. Friday, I had 3 bites on a frog, but they were 12-inch bucks, just little fish, grabbing it, pulling it under. And it just, I'm a topwater junkie.
Yeah, agreed.
The lake just looks like it should have been blowing up for buzzbaits, frogs, everything. So we were out there so early, I figured might as well just try it. And like I said, I had 2 bites within the first 5 minutes off of it, but they were just completely missing it.
Right.
And so, but no, during pre-fish, nothing. But I had overheard people saying topwater was their go-to. So, and plus, I'm just addicted to a buzzbait bite. like
Do
most
you
of us.
throw a trailer hook on your buzzbait at all?
No, I don't.
Hmm.
I've never
Is it?
have.
Do you just throw the skirted, or do you have a soft plastic on yours? What's your go-to buzzbait?
Just a skirted, and it's a buzzbait made by Falcon Tackle. I've been throwing them
Cool.
for 18 years. Same
Jeez.
buzzbaits. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
it's a buddy of ours that makes them.
Good stuff, man. I got to take a look at those.
Yeah, I'll give you a bunch. I probably have 30, 40 of them sitting around here.
I just picked up some of the Buckeye Lures ones, and I'm actually pretty impressed with a couple of them. They have two different versions from Buckeye Lures, and I was taking a peek at some of those. So far, they're all right, but they're still not 100% where I like to see the stuff. I like the profile to be a little bit slimmer.
See, and Falcon Tackle makes two different ones, and one has a loud clacker, and then one's just a slow gurgle, and I prefer the slow gurgle.
Right.
It's just, it barely displaces water, but on a calm day, you can just barely hear it coming across the water, and it seems to work really good.
That's so cool. Very cool. Well, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so then after I caught that smallie and fished the timber for another maybe 30 minutes, I just didn't feel comfortable anymore. So I was like, I'm going to go get my limit and then I'll change, and went across the point to the same side. So it had to be the banks that were steep, like they were almost like a 90-degree vertical going into the water that had a couple patches of reeds on them. That was where the fish were holding.
Wow, that's specific.
That was, I mean, you could catch them on the points where the reeds were, but they weren't sitting on standing timber or laydowns coming off the bank. They were always, the bigger ones were on the sloped banks. And so my very first slope bank I pulled up to, there was an 18.5-incher. I went up and he spooked off the water. I was coming in full speed. He spooked kayak around, spot locked it, and fan casted a Nico rig. And I think on my second cast, he took off with it.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, this is good. So I got a 17 on the boat, 18.5. I was like, this is going to be a good day. So I just decided to run that pattern all day. And I stood on my kayak for a straight 8 hours that day running. And it was full speed down the bank till I found the banks I wanted. And then I'd spook fish off. Same thing. I'd go up about 10 feet, turn around, fan cast an eco rig. Sometimes it'd be the first cast, sometimes it'd be the fifth cast. But I told myself I was doing 5 casts and then I was moving to the next fish. Wasn't going to waste time, because what I noticed, the fish were going out about 10 feet, turning around, and they wanted to come back to shore for some reason. So they'd stay in that general area. And if they seen anything fall, they'd eat it.
Wow.
Yeah. So
very cool, man. You know,
I caught a bunch of spots. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Gene.
I was just going to say, a testament to the unlimited, man, standing on that kayak for 8 freaking hours all day long. Hashtag unlimit yourself, right? You know,
Dude, that thing was,
go ahead. Yeah, that platform
it was so
does it.
stable, and so much room up front. I had 2 of my rods up front. I had my tube jig like normal, and then the Nico rig. And it was just basically covering water. I went through, I guess it'd be the northwest cove with all those cuts. I went through every single cut on that lake. And I also learned partway through the day, about 3/4 way back in every cut, the grass turned brown like it was dead.
Yep.
And I wouldn't go past that point. Even though it looked really fishy, I just stopped about maybe a half to 2/3 of the way back and cut across the cove and worked up the other side.
Wow.
And I probably, and then I've hit another bank. So I had a 19, or well, the 18.5, the 17. I got a couple 16s. And then, so I was at 4 fish and got back on another slope bank where the day before I had caught a bunch of spots, and I seen a big fish take off. I thought it was a carp. Did the same thing, fan casted it, finally hooked it. I was like, oh crap, I got a catfish. Because it was just digging and digging, and I could not see it. Pulled it up, finally got it to flash, and it was my 19.5-inch largie.
Big bass honors for the day. Kaboom.
Yes.
That's awesome,
those
man.
fish fight so hard in that lake.
They do. I noticed that as well. I got like a 17, and I thought for sure I had a wiper or something on there. in practice. I'm like, my gosh, he just will not quit, and he just keeps digging under the yak. It's like these guys, they have a special kind of angry about them.
Yeah, it seemed like everything over 17, you could almost thought you had a catfish or a wiper every time.
Right. I did. I did hit a Nebraska kitty fish on a drop shot of all things. Just I threw it out there, and I knew immediately because the moment the drop shot hit, it dropped. As soon as it hit the bottom, because I was in about, I don't know, 9, 10 foot of water. As soon as it hit the bottom, boom, the line took off. And the last time I remember seeing my line take off that fast was another cat at Wilson, which was a monster cat. And so yeah, I had to ease up because I didn't want to destroy this drop shot rig because it was the only one I carried with me. By the time I got done, the hook was straightened out. This monster had just, tore my gear apart. So it's like, yeah. But they are fun to catch, there's no doubt.
They're a blast, but they also tear your equipment up.
They're mean. They're
Yes,
one of
they
the most
are.
ferocious predators in the water, just kind of unsung, but they are aggressive.
I definitely don't like pulling them into the yak either. They're gross.
Right? Right.
They leave that slime all up and down your line, all through your
Mhm.
kayak.
Tons of fun. Well, dude, we, in practice leading up, you and I, we roomed together this event, and we talked about it that, it was pretty much, we got to go for broke on this thing. And at 17 and above, that puts you around that 85 mark. And we knew that 85 was going to kind of be that golden number. I mean, based on history, that was pretty much the range. So if you could get in that range, then you had a shot at, doing something there. And if you couldn't, pretty much it's just, you're going to, be one of the guys way down that, you're never going to even remember where you finished type thing. So it was when I looked up, the one time I looked at the scoreboard during the day, I looked at it one time all day. And the one time I looked at the standings there, you were already at 87. And I'm sitting there fist pumping by myself. People probably thought I was a special guy out on the water. I'm just like, hell yeah, brother, go get him. And I'm back there, still looking for that bite that was there before. And of course, I couldn't get it to fire this day. But yeah, man, it was super cool watching that. But that 19, was that the big cull that bumped you up higher, or?
That was my fifth fish. Was the
Oh, so it
19
was
and
your
a half,
fifth,
that fifth fish, and that put me, I think, at 87 and a quarter. And I
right?
had a good feeling about it. And then I did look at the board right before it went off, and I think there was someone at 85 and a half. And so I started getting a little nervous then.
Right.
So then
Dude, when you got names like Chris Longshore and, Andy Moore coming up behind you, I mean, these dudes, have won at the national level all the way through. I mean, they know what they're doing. So yeah, you got to be like, I got those guys in my rearview mirror. I mean, was there any kind of pressure hitting on you on that?
it was I was nervous as hell all day. So, and that's when I couldn't decide. So I started getting into smaller fish. I was like, what do I do the rest of the day? So I didn't want to beat the same banks up because I just figured it would be the same fish over and over. So I went out to Main Lake and worked my way back to the boat ramp. And I seen probably 6 fish over 5 pounds, but those ones would not go. They were just sitting in the top of standing timber.
Wow.
And you'd flip everything at them and they just swim off like they're on a daily stroll somewhere.
How much did forward facing sonar play for you? Were you using that to find them at all, or?
At 0. So my smaller came off of that the first thing in the morning. And then I absolutely shut it off and pulled my pole up and set it in my boat. I never used it the rest of the day.
So it was just pure true sight fishing.
That's all it was. It was kind of, I got lucky and found something on Friday, but I thought it was going to be small fish. I think I told you I could get a limit, but I thought it'd be really small. And for some reason, I don't know if it was because that storm front was sitting out there in the morning. It brought the bigger fish up, and the little fish were not there in the morning. So I don't know what it changed, or when I hit it Friday, it was about noon. So it might have been all the little ones up. But I caught fish all day between 14 and 16 inches.
Right. And I've only seen the lake 3 times, but been around the block, not a newbie. Was born at night, wasn't last night, all that good stuff. And tell me if you feel this maybe as well. And again, this might be too early to say this, but Elwood feels, number one, it's absolutely stunning and it's beautiful. I love there's like no development around this place. So it is just natural banks, and there's a little bit of some chunk rock cement, for one of the dams in the pump house, and this and that. But for the most part, there's no houses, there's no docks. It's just the main one ramp at the whole place. And while it's beautiful and really cool waters, you can go from gin clear damn near all the way to a stained clear to a muddy, depending on where you want to go. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it felt a little schizophrenic. Like one day it's this, the next day that's gone, and it's something completely different. A couple locals told us the same thing, that this place can be on one day and off the next. What's your gut tell you about Elwood Reservoir so far?
First of all, I love the lake. Every place we went into looked like you could catch a 5-pound fish, any cast. But Thursday, definitely the fishing was tough for me. I was stressing out, had no game plan. Friday it was a little better, but smaller fish. But I could see that lake just turning on and shutting off. No matter where you're at on the lake, I think fish is different. Thursday, everywhere I went in had bait fish. I think they were called Elroy, you were saying, if I'm saying that right.
Alewives.
Alewife. Oh, there you go. Okay. Thursday, they were everywhere. Friday, I did not see a single bait ball except in one cove. And then, like Saturday, nothing I fished had bait fish because I was up in 6 inches of water most of the day.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Alewifes, Alewife.
Okay.
Two great things.
Elroy.
I named one Elroy. I mean, that's cool. Right?
But that lake is freaking awesome. I loved how you wouldn't see any bank fishermen except on that one point, because there's no access for anyone.
Right. Yeah, it certainly plays well. It's big enough. It's actually, if you go up to the main lake center and then break west, there's a whole complete different size, same size as what you're looking at on the east, all the way to the west. Huge body of water that would allow a field of easily 50, 60 anglers to spread out. The hardest part is that shotgun start, right? Is getting launched in the morning. That was kind of tricky. A little bit of congestion going on there for sure. But
it definitely was. It wasn't bad though. Everyone did a good job. I mean, no one was on top of each other. Everyone got in and out of the way quick, so it wasn't that bad. I got there super early too. I was only probably the fourth one in the water.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that shotgun start was interesting. I did like launching in the dark. It was kind of cool. So
yeah, the drone footage that Brian Johnson got for us there at Nebraska Bass, he got some drone footage of our takeoff. I can actually see because I looked behind and my stern light, I can tell the batteries are starting to get down. It's not super bright right now, but my front nav lights are super bright. So it's like I could see that, I was like, oh, there's that goofy ass boat right there. Because I was like one of 3 guys going south. Everybody else went north, up there.
Seeing like you said, the way the lake lays out, sorry.
No, you're good.
Probably seen 4 kayaks all day till the end. So I went back to the boat ramp area. Because that's where I did my last call, is in the 3rd cove on the boat ramp. And that was at 1:35, I think.
Nice. Very
and
cool.
That was a 17.5. And then the only fish I missed all day.
Oh, and it looks like we lost Jason there. Hang tight and we'll see if he jumps back in. A little bit of connection issue there. We'll give him a couple seconds here to connect back up. We're talking to the Nebraska State Champ, Mr. Jason Loveall. We want to give a big shout out to Brian at Nebraska Bass for hosting a great event, to all the Nebraska anglers, all the Colorado anglers that made this trip. It was a fantastic event. Really cool seeing just some great names in the industry with, of course, Mr. Andy Moore, who took 3rd. Congrats to Chris Longshore for punching his ticket for 2nd place and punching his ticket in there to go down to the national championship. And of course, we had names, like I said, Andy Moore is one of the OGs of our sport. Marty Hughes was there, Brady Stores, just Tyler Alexander. I mean, just a list of anglers, that were able to make it there. Here's Jason. We'll get him back here. There you are, brother.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's all right. So yeah, I was just giving a little shout outs to everybody involved. It was cool seeing these anglers, dude. You went up against a field, man. I mean, you had to earn this one. You know, you got Marty Hughes in there, Chris Longshore, Tyler Alexander, Brady Stores, of course the Colorado hooks that were coming in were no slouches. Um, save a couple of us donors in the back of the field here, but but yeah, man, it's got to feel good to pick that off because there were a decent amount out of 20 some odd anglers. I think 11 limits caught, a couple guys with 4 fish, and then the rest of us. But it's definitely got to be a win that's got to feel good. And now you're going to Texas, brother. You're going to the biggest event in kayak fishing that we have, which is the Bassmaster National Championship. You're going to fish this thing at some lake. We don't know where yet, down in Fort Worth, Texas. What's that feel like?
I am super excited. I don't even know how to take it all in yet. I can't wait for the lake. This was a goal of mine this year. I missed it by one spot at the Horsetooth, Wyoming one. I missed it by 2 spots last year at Horsetooth. So this was definitely a goal of mine. I didn't know it would happen at this lake. I was hoping Pueblo, but yeah, I'm ecstatic. After listening to Chin and all those guys talk about it, I can't wait.
Yeah, man, it was. We had a chance to be down there in the media pass. I'll be there again, one way or another, on the media tip. We're gonna put in for that early. This time we'll have a little bit better. We'll have a dedicated audio camera guy coming with us for this event. But yeah, I'm hoping also to find a way. Now I've got one last event that I can qualify myself in, and that's the Pueblo deal. But yeah, it's the Bassmaster Classic of all things. I mean, the Super Bowl of our sport, that has risen to the top. It's used to be the big, then it was kind of debated. Now it's back to being probably the biggest stage that there is. But that national championship, no doubt about it, is 100% for kayaks. That's cool that you're going to be able to have a chance at sharing that stage, dude, and just being around there. But I like the way any Texas lake sets up for your style of fishing, dude. I think you're going to just, you go down there and just do what you do. I think you're going to have a blast down there. And regardless of what lake they put you on, the only difference is you got a shot at double digits when you're down there.
See, and I've only fished Texas once in my life, and that was Meredith Reservoir. And so I don't know how it even sets up on any of the lakes down there. So right. I'm excited regardless. So I'll just fish to my strengths and hopefully I can figure something out.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Listen, brother, going to go ahead and let you go here, let you get to work and do all that stuff. Really appreciate you again. There it is.
There's that.
Hell yeah. I should have asked for that. What is wrong with me?
I also want to say thank you to Brian Johnson for setting that whole thing up, especially since he didn't fish or anything. A lot of work goes into that. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. To everybody that had a hand in that and the whole setup. I'm looking forward to. They'll make the announcement for next year's event based on after all other schedules come out. They try not to conflict with anybody. So let's hope they keep it somewhat, in the center of the state again. Some opportunity there, because if they go way out like towards Omaha, that really cuts down on the number of Colorado guys that are going to be willing to make that run. But I'll do it because that's not that far of a run really at the end of the day. But
I'll do it also. All those Nebraska guys are super cool. So
yeah, for sure. Well, cool, man. Still appreciate you stopping by here. We're going to have you back on, of course, when we get the rest of the qualifiers figured out, and we'll start talking. We'll be doing those classic national championship preview events, and we'll have you guys coming on here and chatting and talking about game plan once we know the lake and all that good stuff. So, and I'm sure with a couple other events, Norton, Kansas coming up, and this and that, I have a feeling we're going to be seeing you out here again. So. You're on a tear this season, doing well, man. So keep it up. We love following along and being your number one fan.
Thanks, Gene.
You bet, man. Appreciate you, dog. Take it easy.
Take care. Bye.
All right, folks. That was our interview here with the man himself, the champ, Nebraska State champ, and we're going to go ahead and send this back to the regular podcast. All right, folks, hope you enjoyed that interview there that we had with Jason. I do apologize for chewing into the microphone, for the love of God. It was early in the morning though, right? And old man, I got to get that breakfast in, right? And get that through and make sure that we're getting our day started off, the right way. We're going to do a quick commercial here and we're going to come back. We're going to talk LaCrosse. The All-American Kayak Series is heading to Wisconsin. Bucket list destination. If you've never fished these waters, go get signed up now. You'll thank me later. Matter of fact, if you're on the fence right now, if you're watching this, you're on the fence, you're watching this later and you're on the fence, and you decide to go fish this, I'll buy you a beer, right? I mean, it's that simple. It's one of those things. We'll meet someplace up there. And, dude, I'm telling you, if you like frog fishing, if you like getting into skinny waters, if you like having your heart broken by river smallmouth, I mean, this is the place for you. Greens, browns, you name it. How do you want to fish? One of those pools has it covered. So we'll come back. We'll talk that. Let's do this quick commercial break here. Looking at the TPO, finding ways that you two can help support the organization and keep us trucking. That is the True Patriot Outfitters. That is what we do. We get guys. We provide the services to the Romans Warrior Foundation, its Field Ops division, to get together, and we focus heavily, obviously, on kayak fishing. That is the major area, and doing our best. We create bonds with this, try to create these friendships, and see if we can get people hooked on something we love doing out there, and introduce them to this super cool world of kayak fishing. And chasing around. Here in Colorado, it is quite the challenge. I'll tell you that right now. All right, so let's talk LaCrosse, man. So LaCrosse, Wisconsin has been the site of some heavy events through Bassmaster. The first ever Red Crest for Major League Fishing was held up there. There's been super tournaments up there. There's been just legends have been made on this water. There's names that are synonymous with that area up there, like Ott Defoe, Seth Fighter. I mean, these guys, Wheeler showed his versatility in the game up there. It is a place that you can go. That number one, fishing is a part of life there, okay? And these folks don't get year-round fishing, okay? There's an iced up period there where you can't really get into that, a lot of these areas. So when the ice is gone and that river starts to come up and she's safe to get out there and run around on, dude, I'm telling you, it is just part of a life to be out there. And so the community is very, very welcoming to anglers in a major way. There's lots of amenities to be found around there. You're not getting gouged on prices, thankfully, in this area. From LaCrosse, La Crescent, you can head further south down by Lansing, DeSoto. I mean, there's lots of little towns all the way down that you can check out. I wanted to show you, I got just a couple maps here. And so we'll pull this map up here real quick, and we'll take a look at the different pools, and give you a look here. So first and foremost, the Mississippi River, dude, it runs the entire length of the United States, pretty much, from the upper areas of Minnesota there all the way right to the Gulf. It separates, kind of an east-west, if you will. There's a Midwest, obviously, in there, but an east-west of the United States itself. Pool 7 starts at Lock 6 up at the top here, and I believe, if memory serves, give me 1 second here. Yeah, Lock 6, and I'm going to murder the name of this. It's Trempealeau, I think, is the name of the town on the Wisconsin side. That's where Lock 6 is at. And you can run all the way down through this whole area. This is basically Pool 7 that runs this. This is Lake Onalaska here, which is pretty legendary in and of itself. Now, a lot of these backwaters, I'm going to say this multiple times as we look at these pools, but a lot of these channels change because of water levels. Sometimes they're accessible, sometimes they're not. What you're going to see also, you see all these little these deals that are poked through here. These are wing dams that you're going to encounter along the way. Those hold fish as well. Now, if the water's low, you need to be pretty careful with that, especially if you got a bow mount motor. You don't want to run your prop across one of those. Ask me how I know. You'll rip the fins clean off of your trolling motor there, whether you're in a bass boat, 21 foot, or in a kayak. It'll cause you some headaches from that. But these are places where you can find, changes in the water. There's eddies that'll pool up. A lot of times smallies will pull up on those things and feed up there. And then, of course, you got your backwaters, man, to jump in. If you remember 2019, Edwin Evers, he was up in this neck of the woods somewhere, and he went on a 25-minute tear of just like 1.5, 2 pound fish, and like literally like some 18, 19 fish inside that 20 minutes. It was ridiculous. Like every cast, he was catching a fish up in there. There's, LaCrosse is notorious for that. When you find a wad of them, a lot of times they pool up like that. They school up and they fire. And so it's not unheard of that you can get onto those, those kind of fish and find those wolf packs. From Pool 7 here, also that you see, like I said, from Alaska. This is the beginning little area of LaCrosse over here. But then we jump to Pool 8, which is probably the most well-known. This is right in LaCrosse itself. This Pool 8 from 7 all the way down to Pool 9, or Lock 9, if you will. And that lock there, if memory serves, that's Genoa, I believe. Yes, that's Lock Dam 8 is what that is. And that's at Genoa, Wisconsin, down there. It's a pretty big pool, man, and I'm going to tell you another location where huge expansive flats out in these areas, lots of backwaters. You got Goose Island, of course, which is pretty well known. The Black River. The Black River has been notorious for, it holds numbers, just not usually a lot of quality. That's kind of been the commonplace. But yet we watched an old school guy, Tom Mansour, go up in there and pull out and secure himself a victory, out of the Black River, and close to it. We've watched others pull up into French Island in this area in the past. Ott Defoe did some amazing work right up in this area here. It's not uncommon to see. So Pool 8 has been known to hold, a lot of tournaments have been won out of that pool just the same. Of course, then we go to Pool 9, a very long pool that you'll see that runs all the way through. This one might have more backwaters than just about anything, but again, that's going to be dependent upon the water levels that you're going to encounter. Now, what we've been hearing, the initial reports that have been coming through is that, number one, the river was super, super high for the longest time, and now it's been coming down to more, relative levels here of where the pool would sit. And the people are reporting that, people from up in that neck of the woods are stating that the fishing's never been better. That it's just been an epic year right now up on the river for being able to catch quality solid fish, through and through. Like I said, you'll find a bunch of backwaters up into this area. That's Pool 8 right at the top there. But a bunch of backwaters through there that runs all the way down. Lansing, Iowa's down here. There's a lot of entrance, and different ramps that you can find. If you look on Google Maps, you'll see it there. It's not too hard to track down where the ramps are located. You will see, like I said, you'll see the main channels there. Usually along those main channels, you can find the wing dams in there. Depending on current and so forth, it's usually, if the water level is not overly too high, the current isn't something that is, that's roaring by any level. It's usually very manageable that you can get through there, and sometimes you can fish right in the main channel, off to the sides, working wing dams or whatever that you're looking for. Or if that's not your cup of tea, man, you want to get back in those lily pads, you want to get back in the grass. You just need to be able to weed your way through some of the pike and, of course, the bowfin, otherwise AKA known as a dogfish, prehistoric critter with a mouth, nothing but teeth, bones and teeth, man. It'll tear. If you throw an expensive lure, that's what the dogfish like. They go after those. Throw a cheap lure, they don't so much. But one of the tall tale signs for me always is if it gets sharked. A lot of times you'll see it if you're in some shallows and you're throwing a frog around. If you see an incoming, like a shark attack where you're seeing a wake get cut, chances are it's a dogfish, and in most cases, you'll see me yanking trying to get that frog out of the way, because they will destroy pretty much anything they hit. They're very vicious, fun to catch if that's your name of the game. That's what you're looking for. They can be a lot of fun to catch those. But yeah, you're going to run into those, man. It's like I said, you're going to have cut banks, you're going to have eddies, you're going to have sandbars, you're going to have shallow bites, you're going to have a little bit deeper that you can play with. You're going to find some clean water, you're going to find some stained water and dirty water. Literally, as you roam around and check out these pools for each different one, they are their own little ecosystems, and you find systems within the systems, man. And that's what makes LaCrosse one of the better places. Now we're working on some stuff right now to also add some entertainment to this event when we get up there with the All American Kayak Series, and we'll release some information. We plan on the 12th is going to be we're going to hopefully have Jeremiah from Explore LaCrosse. He'll be joining us. That's what we're going to try to get accomplished. We'll have, of course, the man himself, Mr. Booth, see if we can get him on here. And we'll talk about, that's the week of the LaCrosse event. So we'll be talking about it there. I'm telling you right now, man, if there was an event that you've been looking for on the All-American side of things, this is the one you want to get to. It is the perfect time of year to be up there, to get after these guys, and just have yourself an amazing time fishing and create some memories that you will not soon forget. The last time I was at LaCrosse, and I've fished LaCrosse many a times from a boat, and now once from a kayak, and I can tell you, I've been on that water as a co-angler, countless times. I've been on that water as a boater countless times, and I had never caught as many fish as I did 2 years ago at the All-American Championship. I couldn't get the quality. I couldn't seem to find the quality. But when you're catching 16s and 17s all day long, and wearing your gear out, wearing your arms out and your thumbs out, it's just like something you will never ever forget. And that it's just a testament to just how healthy that whole river system on pools 7, 8, and 9, how they truly are in there. And it can change from day to day, so you don't want to miss this. The 10 fish format's going to be in play up there. It's going to be an awesome deal. Should add a little bit of excitement to that. We're also partnering with the Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series. Again, they're coming into town. They're going to have their event going on at the same time there. And so that should be a super cool event to have that local club coming in, partnering with us for another event here. We had a successful run up there at Minocqua, and we're looking to do that again here in LaCrosse. Like I said, there's guys that live out there that look forward to this event every year. And it doesn't seem to really matter the kind of pressure that lands on that river. She just stays healthy. That moving water helps create, I think, just a great environment to. There's lots of forage, lots of things for the bass to eat, lots of good competition, which keeps them. I'll tell you, those river smallies, man, they may not get as fat, but they get long and good. Night do they fight. But if you're counting on them to be someplace, be prepared to have your heart broken, because it is a tough deal to really pattern those smallies. When you find them that given day, then you lock in on them and you burn them up as much as you can, because the river smallies can be a tricky, fickle beast, for sure. So. Well, listen, folks, we're gonna end this one a little bit early here. We were hoping to have a couple extra special guests that were going to be joining us, but it just didn't work out tonight. So we'll be trying to line up some different guests here. What we're going to be doing going forward into the future here, as we get into the busy schedule of fall season, we're going to try to introduce you to some of our TPO Pro team that we have out there. These are individuals that help us spread the information about the mission of the True Patriot Outfitters and the Romans Warrior Foundation. Help us basically bring awareness to the positive beneficial effects of kayak fishing and the needed process for camaraderie. out there for our nation's warfighters. And these individuals, many of them, some of them are active military, some of them are veterans, some of them are citizens like myself. And that the fact is they give their time, they give their nod and their recommendation for the work that we're doing out there. The True Patriot Outfitters, is one step away from being a solidified, future long driven organization here. We still need to get some pieces of the puzzle in place. We're on the verge of getting set up with possibilities, some big things that are coming down the pipe for us. And we want to make sure we have our feet firmly on the ground and our concrete foundation in place there. So if you know of organizations out there that are looking to try to get behind an organization and really help provide the foundation for us out there, with donations and other support measures that they could be looking at, please definitely send them our way. We would love to chat with them, explain to them, show them what we do. If they're anywhere near our area here, we got a couple big events. Our team member Jimmy and Misty Burgess, those folks are going to help us put on a field ops event coming up in September in Joplin, Missouri. We're going to be down in that neck of the woods working with a couple other organizations, collabing together to take a couple folks out on some new canoes and introduce them to some fishing and see if we can make new connections, new friends for a lifetime here. So that's what we're doing this whole thing for. That's the whole purpose behind the podcast. We get that information out there and we talk fishing along the way. But if you've got suggestions, like I said, with that, any thoughts on those areas, please let us know. We're always wide open. If you know a veteran-owned small business that's out there, let us know about it. We'd love to have you on the show, man, and chat with you and explore the business. We've opened a lot of doors that way right there. If you got ideas, we're going to also be with some of our future podcasts. We're going to try to be putting together some real specific content, like for instance, preparing for a tournament. We're going to have some special guests come on and join us, and we're going to sit around and we're going to talk about how do you prepare for a tournament. When you go to pre-fishing to getting ready for travel, setting this whole thing up here. If you watched earlier on the final cast, they were talking about how you choose what tournaments, that you want to fish out there. They were looking into that kind of stuff. Well, I'm sure we'll tap into some of those as well here and on the podcast and chat a little bit about that. We'll have some really cool guests, come in and join us on that. A lot from our team as well that have, a lot of experience with that. So we'll really focus on some of those. And if you have other ideas or other topics you'd like us to cover out there, throw me a DM, man. Send me a message. Throw a comment up there, and we'll absolutely look into getting some of those covered. Like I said, September is going to be crazy, folks. August here is going to be getting wrapped up, but then September cranks up. We're going to be all over the place, running around. We got a couple championships coming in. Table Rock for the All-American Kayak Series that Open Championship is going to be a burner, and we're trying to put some really cool special things together for that event as well. And hopefully partnering with looks like Bud's Baits out of Joplin, Missouri, to do some cool work with those guys there down in Table Rock. So could be a lot of fun. Could have a couple names you might recognize. We'll see if we can get them to come join us out there, folks. We love you. We appreciate you. If you're tuning in live here, thank you so much for all your support. If you're watching this thing recorded or if you're listening to it on one of your favorite podcast platforms, we can't thank you enough for all that you do for us and make this all possible here. As usual, folks, tight lines. We'll see you next week. Be safe.